You can make an extra $500 to $1,000 a month by selling this one cookie. It doesn't take a bakery, only your kitchen, a little extra time, and a recipe that people will crave. Today, I'm going to show you how you can take a freshly baked comfort cookie and turn it into extra income and possibly a full-time business. Here we go. So if you have found yourself clicking on this video, it's probably one of several reasons. Either you follow me and you like to support my channel and you want to watch the video. Maybe the title or the thumbnail made you curious and you clicked on the video. Or the biggest reason, you are looking to earn extra income fast. It is not lost on me, and it is no secret that the economy is inflated. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck and are actually looking for a side hustle or a way to earn extra income. And I did a video recently where I was showing you how to make burritos and how you could possibly earn income from family and friends. And there was a lot of feedback in the comment section. And I did misspeak in the last video. I said it was passive income, mainly because I was looking into passive income for myself and it just kind of stuck with me when I was talking off the cuff. But this would be considered extra income. A lot of you out there are looking for ways to do just that. So if that type of video or content interests you, let me know in the comment section down below. I have a couple of other videos that I could explain or give you ideas. But back to cookies. I want to give you just some tips and things that I've discovered when I did a little research that could help you start. I want to preface this by saying, do your due diligence. Make sure that when you are creating a product to sell, whether it's cookies or cakes or muffins or whatever it is, check your local counties, cities, health departments, your local state, as far as food cottage laws. This video is really not going to tell you the laws when it comes to this. I'm just going to give you an idea that you can essentially turn into extra income. So do your due diligence. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, if Angelica had to earn an extra $100 to $200 this week, this is the simplest and quickest way I would start. And before I show you, I want you to ask yourself, what is more important, your time or your money in the scenario of extra income? Because the first way that you can make a classic cookie would be store-bought dough. I know, a lot of you are probably cringing at the idea of store-bought doughs. I'm going to give you an example of a personal experience when it came to someone selling baked goods. So 20 years ago, I remember there was a lady that would come by the office twice a week and she would sell freshly baked homemade cookies. A lot of us were like, oh, these cookies were so good. They were perfect. They were a great midday pick-me-up and come back tomorrow because we'll probably want more. And it turns out she was just selling the store-bought cookie dough, Toll House cookie dough, and she would bake them, package them up, and at the time I think she was selling a dozen of the regular size Toll House cookies for about, I want to say it was like somewhere between $5 to $7 for a dozen, and this was 20 years ago. And she was very upfront about it, and you know what? We didn't care because she brought us a baked cookie, even though she didn't make the dough from scratch, but it was so convenient for us workers that could not leave the office. We needed a pick-me-up. We were working long hours, and she brought it right to the office, right to our doorstep. We didn't have to leave. We didn't have to go and pick up anything outside of work. And that was with store-bought dough. So that brings me to what I'm going to show you now. If I had to make an extra $100 today, I would go to the store, buy this tub of cookie dough. This bucket costs $7.99, we'll say $8, and I will show you the math later. But this is kind of a way that you can make it convenient on yourself if you are going to start selling cookies. This idea is for my beginner cooks, people that just aren't seasoned bakers and they need a quick emergency way to make cash. You tap into your friends and family, word of mouth, and if you can come up with 10 orders, you definitely can meet that $100 quota in a week or in a day if you really put in the time and effort to find your consumer. But this is how I would do it with the store-bought cookie dough. Okay, so first up, store-bought cookie dough. I do suggest getting the Toll House brand. I've tried other brands, even the cheaper ones. It just doesn't taste the same. And this is a 36-ounce bucket. 1 ounce dough balls will give you 36 cookies. And you definitely want to portion your cookie dough. Remember, you're doing this for profit. So trying to be exact in weight and measurement really helps your profit. I only got this amount. That bucket was already used. I put it on a parchment paper, cover it with cling film, and I am going to freeze these dough balls because it makes it so much easier to store it in a Ziploc baggie once they're individually frozen. The cookies. And the trick here is that if you are going to go into the business of baking these store-bought cookies, you want to pre-freeze the dough balls to make your work easier as you get orders in. So I'm just going to put these into a Ziploc baggie or a freezer baggie. And I want to mention prepping your cookie dough this way, whether it is homemade or store purchased, prepping it this way makes the workflow easier for the week when you need to crank out these orders. You can pre-measure everything. So here we have an online content creator that does a home bakery, Bonjour Bakery, and this is how they prep and bake and get orders ready. And these are those very thick bakery style cookies. I will put something in the description below if that's the type of cookie you want to bake. And they are popular, but you know, it just depends on your clientele and what they like. So I'm going to show you how I make homemade cookie dough, more along the lines of the Toll House cookie that people like, not the thick kind, and I think you'll find it helpful. Here what I'm making is just a small batch, but I will put measurements and ingredients below for a full batch of cookies that would make 36 1-ounce cookies. So in my opinion, if I were starting my home bakery, I would start with a classic chocolate chip cookie, and that is just the chewy center, crisp edges. It's not thick, it's not too thin, it's just right in my opinion, and it goes great with an ice cold glass of milk. And another baker's tip, if you are going to sell cookies, is adding cornstarch to the dough, which helps the shelf life of the cookie. So here I'm pretending I got an order for a dozen cookies, and I'm going to bake this in a preheated oven at 350 degrees from frozen. It's going to take like 13 minutes or so, or until it looks like this. And then I'm going to remove it. And then you'll definitely want to cool the cookies before packaging them. I'm utilizing things out of my home, so if this were my home bakery, I would not have to invest a lot for like tools or baking pans and cooling cookie wire racks. It all works in my kitchen for right now. So once these are cooled, I'm using what I have on hand. I had these loaf pans from Christmas. I found them. I have some cellophane bags. I also have these bags that you could make loaves of bread. I'm just going to work with it today just to kind of give you an idea of like how I would package my order if I had to start today, because I had these things. And in my opinion, I would sell a dozen cookies if I'm making these regular size cookies that aren't too thick or chunky or big. I just think it's more appealing if they're this style of chocolate chip cookie to sell them by the dozen. So into the bag they go. Again, there are so many ways that you can package your cookies. I'm just using these things that I had in my pantry. And here we are. And you just fold it. This came with stickers, so I'll stick the back. And I would sell this dozen of cookies for $10. And you definitely can adjust the price to what you feel it's worth. Okay, so for those of you that are like, no, I wouldn't pay that amount for a dozen of those cookies. Like I said, speaking from my own personal experience, take my money. If I'm busy at work and you came around my office and you're selling those cookies, take my money now. I will gladly pay for it. But if you do want to go the route of what's trending right now, Crumbl cookies, it's no secret that they are sort of like the trend right now for a lot of home bakers. They try to recreate the Crumbl cookie style cookies and sell those.
Crumbl came out with a strawberry cupcake cookie this week, so here's how you can make it at home. Crumbl came out with a red velvet cookie this week, so here's how you can make it at home.
Here's how you make the viral Crumbl cookies at home.
Personally, I am not a big fan of the thick, like bakery style thick chocolate chip cookies. I love a good classic, thinner, crisp on the edges, chewy in the center chocolate chip cookie. So if you are going to sell these cookies, you're going to have to take a little feedback from whoever you're selling it to. You might have, out of 10 customers, maybe 2 would ask you for, hey, do you sell those like bakery style cookies that everyone's making? Then you can kind of pivot on what you are doing. Now, this is where you're going to have to make your cookies from scratch. And like I said, at the end of the video, we can do like a breakdown of cost and what's more efficient and what works for you. Now, if you want a bakery style cookie, I will put a link below for you to follow. There are plenty of like online content creators and bakers that have like websites that they show you how to make those bakery style chocolate chip cookies. I'll put a link below if you're interested in those. Here's another idea or food for thought if you are going to start making baked goods out of your home bakery. You could also do trays or small like square cake pans of blondies. And that kind of falls into the category of hitting up the whole classic chocolate chip cookie flavor profile. Now, I'm not saying that's the only thing you need to sell, but like I said, if Angelica needed to make an extra $100 today, I'm going with a chocolate chip cookie. Think if I had to find 10 orders today. You tap into your family and friends, you give a friend a call, hey, anybody at your work want some freshly baked cookies? I can be there in 2 hours, or something like that. Like, those are things that I would suggest you tap into. Your community, your friends, and family. Even at your own job. If you are working full-time and part-time at like a store or an office or a company, ask a couple of your coworkers, would you be interested in freshly baked cookies? I can bring some tomorrow, and you can give samples. If they like the samples, they are more than likely going to say like, you know what? Heck yes, bring me those cookies. So let's break down the cost for the homemade cookies from scratch. Recipe ingredients, I totaled that at $8.31 for the measurements and ingredients, and that's 36 1-ounce dough balls that you would prep. That gives you 3 dozens. And if I'm selling per dozen regular size cookies, I'd sell it for 15 bucks. The pre-made cookie dough, I'd sell it for 10. So we're selling $15 per dozen, and 3 dozen comes in one scratch-made batch. The recipe, that's $45. I'm going to subtract the ingredients to make one batch of 36 cookies. Your profit is $36.69 per recipe batch. And let's say you sell 9 orders of a dozen cookies a day. That's $110 per day and some change. You multiply that by 3 days a week, that's over $330 a week. For a monthly profit, and that's 4 weeks average in a month, that's over $1,300 in a month. And one thing I did not factor in is the price that you would pay to get the packaging for the cookies, but still, you can easily clear $1,000 a month by making homemade cookies. Now, I will show you what it's like if you decide to use the store-purchased pre-made cookie dough. I would sell it $10 per dozen times 3, that's $30 per batch. You subtract what it costs to buy the pre-made cookie dough, that's a $22 profit. And if you have 9 orders in a day, that's a $66 per day profit times 4 days a week, $264 a week. You multiply that by 4 weeks, you clear your $1,000. Again, you need to factor in what you can use to package it. But I say it's a great way to make extra income. Okay, so I hope you found today's video helpful. And like I always say, give it a like, comment, and share with somebody that could use the idea. I honestly understand how we are all scrambling to make ends meet. And if that means starting your home bakery, like I said in the beginning of this video, do your due diligence, tap into family and friends and your community, and watch it grow. The time and effort you put into something will yield better results. And this side hustle could absolutely turn into a successful business for you, where some people have been known to bake from home part-time or do like a side hustle on the weekends, and it turns into a flourishing, thriving business during the week as a full-time job. So think about that. Okay, so I hope everyone is doing well, and I will see you in the next video.